Next up, I'm pleased to introduce a panel of 4 instructors from Urantia University Institute. Andre Rodatis, Bennett Rutenberg, Marvin Garwin, and Elizabeth Callahan, who will lead us first in a short reenactment of the remembrance ritual which Jesus gave us, and then share some perspectives on the meaning of the remembrance elements, the dynamic nature of spiritual fellowship, and the inner and outer kingdom of heaven. Urantia University, take it away.
Welcome, fellows. In preparation for our gathering, you may or may not want to have wine, juice, water, or some beverage, bread, baked goods, crackers, nuts, or some solid food for a brief remembrance supper. We will begin in a couple of minutes. Feel free to quickly get your preferred elements now if you so choose. A few of our instructors from Urantia University Institute are here with me today. We have Elizabeth Callahan, Marvin Gowron, and Bennett Rutenberg. We also have some others participating on the sidelines. I see John Callahan there. I see Buck Weimer, Arlene Weimer. Today, we're going to express our appreciation for the life and teachings of Jesus. We will focus on what Jesus taught about spiritual fellowship and the kingdom of heaven, and how our Creator's Son bestowed himself eternally after his death and resurrection and ascension as the Spirit of truth, the spiritual force which ever draws all truth seekers towards him, who is the personification of truth in the local universe. As a way to engage your mind in framing and pre-organizing the experience consciously and superconsciously, let's invite our thought adjusters to consider with us these 3 questions before we begin. We'll repeat them later on. First, what does spiritual fellowship mean to you? Secondly, how do you experience fellowship in your life? Thirdly, how does the reality of Jesus' presence among us in the Remembrance Supper change the experience of fellowship when we realize it? As they brought Jesus the 3rd cup of wine, the cup of blessing, he arose from the couch and, taking the cup in his hands, blessed it, saying, "Take this cup, all of you, and drink of it. This shall be the cup of my remembrance. This is the cup of the blessing of a new dispensation of grace and truth. This shall be to you the emblem of the bestowal and ministry of the divine Spirit of truth. And I will not again drink this cup with you until I drink in new form with you in the Father's eternal kingdom." The apostles all sensed that something out of the ordinary was transpiring as they drank of this cup of blessing in profound reverence and perfect silence. The old Passover commemorated the emergence of their fathers from a state of racial slavery into individual freedom. Now the Master was instituting a new remembrance supper as a symbol of the new dispensation wherein the enslaved individual emerges from the bondage of ceremonialism and selfishness into the spiritual joy of the brotherhood and fellowship of the liberated faith sons of the living God. When they had finished drinking this new cup of remembrance, the Master took up the bread and, after giving thanks, broke it in pieces and, directing them to pass it around, said, "Take this bread of remembrance and eat it. I have told you that I am the bread of life. And this bread of life is the united life of the Father and the Son in one gift. The word of the Father as revealed in the Son is indeed the bread of life. When they had partaken of the bread of remembrance, the symbol of the living word of truth, incarnated in the likeness of mortal flesh, they all sat down. In instituting this remembrance supper, the Master, as always was his habit, resorted to parables and symbols. He employed symbols because he wanted to teach certain great spiritual truths in such a manner as to make it difficult for his successors to attach precise interpretations and definite meanings to his words. This supper of remembrance, when it is partaken of by those who are Son-believing and God-knowing, does not need to have associated with its symbolism any of man's puerile misinterpretations regarding the meaning of the divine presence. For upon all such occasions, the Master is really present. The Remembrance Supper is the believer's symbolic rendezvous with Michael. When you become thus spirit conscious, the Son is actually present, and his spirit fraternizes with the indwelling fragment of his Father. After they engaged in meditation for a few moments, Jesus continued speaking. When you do these things, recall the life I have lived on earth among you, and rejoice that I am to continue to live on earth with you and serve through you, as individuals contend not among yourselves as to who shall be greatest. Be you all as brethren. And when the kingdom grows to embrace large groups of believers, likewise should you refrain from contending for greatness or seeking preferment between such groups. Thank you for sharing this Remembrance Supper with me. Let us take this spirit now into an understanding of the Remembrance Supper. Brother Marvin, would you please relate what you have on the meaning of the remembrance elements?
Thank you, Andre, and what a joy to see all of your faces and be with you here. The virtual medium is really transcended by the spirit of our sharing. It's a treat to see you all. I'm going to share my screen and kind of drill down a little bit into what Andre has shared with us. Can everyone see that okay? Good. So first, to observe that in the early church, they say that in those days they celebrated the Lord's Supper after the manner of its establishment, which is interesting. They assembled for a social meal of good fellowship. They got together, they had fun, they loved each other, they shared with each other, caught up with each other's lives, and they partook of the sacrament at the end of the meal, which is where they had their communion with the Master and with the Spirit of the Father and of the Holy Spirit. And so for me, the two elements have always been quite intertwined, and I wanted to just share that with you and how it's articulated in the text. That the bread, in a sense, is substance. It has all the nourishing elements of Jesus' life and teachings. And I feel like I stand on David Kulicki's shoulders here. He did such a great hour on these metaphors of the bread and the wine. And that the wine or the juice, the moistening water of life, is actually Jesus' presence with us right now. And it's the interaction of these two elements that we together imbibe or take in. So look at these passages as Andre articulated them. The substance of Jesus' life and teachings. The Master took up the bread, he broke it, passed it around, he said, Take this bread of remembrance and eat it. He said, I am the bread of life. It's my life. The bread of life is the united life of the Father and the Son in one gift. His life is a gift to us. The Word, his expression, his teaching, as revealed in the Son, is indeed the nourishing substance, the bread of life. And he also said, in picking up the cup, that the cup is the emblem or the symbol of the bestowal and ministry of the divine Spirit of truth. So what Jesus was saying is that this water of life, this liquid that moistens and makes assimilable the substance of Jesus' life and teachings, is his actual presence with us right here, right now. And what they say, the midwayers, is that upon all such occasions, the Master is actually really present now. The Remembrance Supper is our symbolic rendezvous with Michael. So we're going to take a moment now and become spirit conscious. Pay attention to the Spirit within us and Jesus' presence with us and among us, and his Spirit fraternizing with the Spirit of his Father, and all of us fraternizing with him and the Father and all of us together. So we're going to take just a couple of moments to enjoy that Spirit presence, and then my wonderful sister Elizabeth will bring us out with a little prayer.
We give thanks to the triune God, our divine parents, for this grand universe and their beautiful divine plan, and their unceasing love for each one of us, for the indwelling Spirit of our Father and the promise of eternal life. We give thanks to Michael and the Mother Spirit for their gifts of life and mind and the way to paradise, and for Michael's Spirit of truth and our faithful seraphim who ever guide us. And we give thanks for our beloved community of brothers and sisters. Amen.
Amen.
I want to thank Andre and Marvin for inducting us into the remembrance ritual and helping us to be more aware of the elements and the meaning. I'd like to just take a few minutes and appreciate the magnitude of this outpouring of Michael's Spirit of truth on Pentecost and what it means to each one of us. This was the fruit of his life on earth. First, the bestowal of the Spirit of truth since Pentecost, we know, has made it possible for thought adjusters to universally indwell the minds of people on earth forevermore. Second, it means that this Spirit of truth is an ever-present teacher to all humankind, not just Christians. We're told in paper 194 to keep in mind that the Spirit of truth was bestowed on all sincere believers, not just the apostles, not just the people who knew Jesus and believed in Jesus. On the day of Pentecost, and I quote, all the honest of heart throughout the world received the new teacher, end quote. Every soul receives this Spirit teacher according to their love for truth and their capacity to grasp and comprehend spiritual realities. And third, we're reminded that the chief mission of this outpoured Spirit of the Father and the Son is to teach all people about the truths of the Father's love and the Son's mercy, because these are the truths of divinity that it's easiest for people to comprehend. And being divine, these truths transcend all languages, all races, all religions, and all belief systems. Right now, the Spirit of truth is working within every person on earth, whether they are conscious of it or not, with their thought adjusters and with the Holy Spirit, to reveal the Father's nature and the Son's moral character. And fourth, Jesus taught us to realize that everyone shares the same spiritual nature from God. Every person is a spiritual child of God. We are bound to each other in an indivisible spiritual family, connected in spiritual fellowship. And Jesus made it plain that he came here to establish personal and eternal relations with everyone. And he emphasized that this spiritual fellowship was to be extended to all people of all ages and all social conditions. Let me just share my screen for a moment. And fifth, the true church, the Jesus brotherhood, is invisible, spiritual, and characterized by unity, not by uniformity, which is a mechanical property. Spiritual unity is the fruit of faith union with the living Jesus, the Spirit of truth. We do not have to all think alike and act alike. We just need to be unified in the Spirit of God. We are further told that this spiritual brotherhood of the kingdom of God is progressive in nature. And that it's destined to become a living organism in contrast to an institutional organization. And that's a thrilling thought, isn't it? Just look around and maybe you'll see that in the midst of the present world crisis, many people are uniting in common causes out of love for each other and for the good of the whole world. I think this is a sign of spiritual fellowship emerging more. So what we want to put forth today, and I'm closing now, is first, have strong faith in this spiritual process and trust in the dependable ways of God the Father, the Son, and the Mother Spirit, which ultimately always will reveal our spiritual nature to ourselves. And second, do all that we can to foster the healthy growth of this living organism by cultivating the divine truths of faith and trust in God, love and hope, courage and patience, and tolerance and peace to everyone in our families, in our communities, in our nations, and our world, and know that the Spirit of truth is leading the way. So thank you very much, and I'd like to pass the mic now to my brother, Bennett Rutenberg. I'll stop share.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, everybody, for being here. As it was revealed in Jesus' time, was the kingdom idea meant as a present reality or a prophecy of future significance? An inner or outer life experience? The answer is yes. From the first paper, the transcendent goal of the children of time is to find the eternal God, to comprehend the divine nature, to recognize the universal Father. God-knowing creatures have only one supreme ambition, just one consuming desire, and that is to become, as they are in their spheres, like him as he is in his paradise perfection of personality and in his universal sphere of righteous supremacy. From the local universe Mother Spirit, from the heights of eternal glory, the divine spirit descends by a long series of steps to meet you as you are and where you are and then, in partnership with faith, lovingly to embrace the soul of mortal origin and to embark upon the sure and certain retracement of those steps of condescension, never stopping until the evolutionary soul is safely exalted to the very heights of bliss from which the divine spirit originally sallied forth on this mission of mercy and ministry. The thought adjuster is the cosmic window through which the finite creature may glimpse the certainties and divinities of limitless deity, the universal Father. Sooner or later, we all become aware that all creature growth is proportional to Father identification. We arrive at the understanding that living the will of God is the eternal passport to the endless possibility of infinity itself. The adjusters are the actuality of the Father's love incarnate in the souls of men. During the life in the flesh, the evolving soul is enabled to reinforce the supermaterial decisions of the mortal mind. He early taught his followers that the kingdom of heaven was a spiritual experience having to do with the enthronement of God in the hearts of men. And this kingdom is even now among you. For where the Spirit of God teaches and leads the soul of man, there in reality is the kingdom of heaven. Now have I come proclaiming faith, the gift of God, as the price of entrance into the kingdom of heaven. If you would but believe that my Father loves you with an infinite love, then you are in the kingdom of God. I declare that the kingdom of heaven is the realization and acknowledgement of God's rule within the hearts of men. And the Father also rules within the hearts of his children on earth by the Spirit which he has sent to live within the souls of mortal men. Again and again have I told you that my kingdom is not of this world, but you will not believe me. Concerning the kingdom, his last word always was, the kingdom is within you. Sooner or later, another and greater John the Baptist is due to arise proclaiming, the kingdom of God is at hand, meaning a return to the high spiritual concept of Jesus, who proclaimed that the kingdom is the will of his heavenly Father, dominant and transcendent in the heart of the believer, and doing all this without in any way referring either to the visible church on earth or to the anticipated second coming of Christ. The Father in paradise lives inside of you, each of you. Perhaps you will ask your beloved adjuster to show you the kingdom of heaven within. Thank you.
Thank you, Bennett. So, thank you for sharing this more formal time with us. Now let's just take a deep breath and let it out and relax. And let's, in informal time, take some time to share our insights with each other. We have 3 questions just to begin discussion, the questions I mentioned before. 1, what does spiritual fellowship mean to you? 2, how do you experience fellowship in your life? 3, how does the reality of Jesus' presence among us in the remembered supper change the experience of fellowship when we realize it? And 4, anything else that struck you that anybody said or that occurred to you while you were just in worship? Gingy Garrick.
Hi, Andre.
Sorry,
Hi,
Gingy
everybody.
Telefero. How are you?
No, just Garrick now.
Just Garrick now. Okay, Gingy, nice to
I
see
don't know
you.
why that's on there. Good to see you too, Andre. Yeah. I took some notes, just the thought that's jumped out at me from what is it Bennett was just saying. The Father loves us with an infinite love. That, you know, is so good to hear over and over and over again, and in different phraseology. It really hit me this time. And the other thing that struck me was that ask your adjuster to show you the kingdom of heaven within. I guess these are just things that I needed to hear right now. So they sort of jumped out at me, and I took notes, and I'm gonna play around with those later in prayer time.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Gingy.
Well, this is the beauty of fellowship, you know, it's to kind of look at things in a different way than you do with just your own mind, you know.
Think of that whole product of the, you know, the squaring of the power here. We have 127 people here.
Wow.
That's very close to 20,000 when you square it. Not quite. That's a lot of power.
Yeah, that's, you know, maybe that's how many angels are here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gingy. Naomi. Well, look at that. What are the odds? Two people from British Columbia in a row.
Start video. Okay.
Hi, Naomi.
Hello, Heavenly Father. May there be 144 today, 12 times 12. And just the blessing of knowing we're all here together, and the Lord is with us. And the calm of the Lord, where Andre is able to suspend time and to empty it, and to have vanquished the voices of the onlookers and have them silenced, and this holy silence to continue. To me, this is a victory that's over fear and suppression of the true innocence of prayer. And so I'm celebrating excitedly how I belong with you all. There you go. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful, Naomi. Thank you. Ah, I see. Marvin, are you raising your hand? Okay.
Yep.
I
Just
also see Big E. Is that you, Eric?
Let's go Big E, and then we'll go Marvin. We'll go to people who haven't spoken yet.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Where are you from, Big E?
I'm from Santa Barbara, California.
Oh, marvelous.
Thanks. It's nice and warm here right now. What really struck me this day listening to this is that when he goes, like I've told you repeated times, I'm not of this world. And I think during this particular time in our lives, that's incredibly significant. And from those I see, it's very hard to not be terribly connected to the world and what it's doing to us, so to speak. And I am in awe in my own life because of the great gifts of God's love for us, and especially like Jesus coming right down here and being with us and showing us so much truth, and then knowing that truth's inside of us along with our thought adjuster. You know, it's this wonderful opportunity to connect. And for me, I have reconnected on a daily basis, worried about jobs, and then worried about lots of things. Touching someone and saying, oh my God, what if I give this to my wife? And then always coming back to what's so much greater, and there's so much more love, and this sharing today about Jesus and his sharing of the bread of life, and you know, anyways, I just am so grateful to be able to be here with so many people who have gotten so much from this wonderful book, and I feel blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Big E. Marvin.
I love that. That was wonderful. What does Big E stand for, by the way?
Eric. Oh, he's muted. He's our friend, Eric Lehman.
Ah,
Okay.
thank you,
Back
Eric.
when I was 19 starting theater, there were like 5 other Erics, and I became Big Eric at that time.
He's tall.
Well, thank you, brother Big E. I just wanted to kind of toss out, they make, the revelators make this distinction between social fellowship and spiritual fellowship. And it's a huge distinction. And my takeaway is that the difference is that we're all here, even virtually, with spirit, you know, with the Master, with our Mother Spirit and our angelic sisters, with the indwelling Spirit of the Father now. So spiritual fellowship is fellowship with the divine as we enjoy social fellowship, and just staying really attentive to that in each moment and in each moment again. So that to me is important. Thanks, Andre.
Thank you very much, Marvin. Not seeing any hands, devolves upon me to call on a brother or sister. Oh, Keith, I see a hand. Very good. And then John Callahan after Keith. Go ahead, Keith.
The fellowship, how do we experience it in our life? And one thing I try to do, staying uplifted, knowing I have that spark within, I try to be uplifting to others. Just light conversation or humorous conversation to, you know, the tellers and the checkout people that don't mean much to a lot of other people. And then since finding this Zoom thing that you people are all doing, and I find so wonderfully fulfilling, back in April or March, where I guess I was very fortunate to stumble across it when you started. So this is a great group of fellowship, and thank you all.
Thank you, Keith. John Callahan.
Oh, okay. I wrote down 6 words. How do I experience spiritual fellowship in my life? Acceptance, gratitude, compassion, empathy, love, and appreciation. That's how I experience.
Great, thank you. Dale Ann from Connecticut.
Hi, everybody. It's really
Good to see you.
wonderful to be here with all of you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is another one of those moments when it's hard to articulate what I'm feeling, but when gathered with so many people who are God-loving and having the opportunity to break bread with you all is a very powerful experience. And I can feel the presence of the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, Michael's love in all of you. It's very powerful. And I'm so grateful every time I have one of these moments. I just get overwhelmed sometimes, the beauty of it. So I just wanted to express that I feel the love very powerfully. I feel the presence of love in each of you. It's like a circuit that gets so powerful when we're all together and sharing in that. It just becomes exponentially so much greater. It's a miracle.
Thank you, Daylan. Yeah, and how much more we need it today to be re-energized in this way. Thank you. Kurt.
This whole thing of spiritual communion is, I kind of, versus a social get together, I liken to a thing that I've been into for a while. I always talk about the religion of personal experience, and it's got the acronym ROPE, and I see it as being my connection to God. If we each have a connection to God and we're relating to each other, that raises things for me to the level of spiritual communion, whereas just social communion leaves God out of it. But if I've got God in my life and I'm speaking with someone else that has God in my life, we're both connected to God, and then we're connected to each other. And it just raises the whole level of communication that we have to such a higher level. And this is wonderful here to be connected to all of you tonight, even though it's virtual. It's real and spiritual, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Paul and Georgie Krupa, wherever you are.
We're all talking about the same thing here, spiritual fellowship. And for me, this is it right here. I'm looking around at this tremendous room of people, my brothers and sisters from New England and from New Mexico, and I've met most of you at one point or another. My beautiful sisters in Peru, and every time I've been trying to concentrate on everything that's being said, and at the same time jumping from screen to screen to see all of your beautiful faces. And every time I do, it's like a little jolt of joy in my heart. That is spiritual fellowship, when our souls are all coming together in this tremendous circuit of love that comes from our Father through us and to you, to all of you. It's just wonderful to see you all. And thank you for being a part of this tremendous circuit of love.
And I'll add a couple of things to add to Kurt's idea of the rope idea. I see that the personality of our Father's gift to us is so unique. And understanding what music is, I can see how when the universe gets settled in like light and life, all of our personalities will be those unique fibers, those unique strings of relationship that we will interact with one another to create this unbelievably woven expression of God and his ability to love. So I think this idea of us having a unique personality, we manifest it and we live our lives having relationships which have value in themselves. And then through our interactions with one another, we create this wonderful, beautiful mosaic that it's just hard to imagine what it looks like down the road. But that's some of the impressions I've got this evening.
Thank you, Paul. And thank you so much, Georgie. I've been hopping around the screens too. It's a beautiful mosaic. Okay, we have a few people in line. We have Seth, then we have Patrick Ho, Christian Birch, and Bobby.
And Jim Wong.
And Jim.
Jin Wook Kim.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. I know that there is most definitely power in all coming together. I mean, you just see us as we're just a group of 125. Can you imagine what it's like? What the birthday party up there in the galaxy's looking like?
Yeah.
Oh my wow! I can't wait. I mean, we're in our infancy, and I cannot wait to see what comes next. I just can't wait. I'm so excited about this entire thing. I am completely embraced, wide open arms, full all in. I already had a relationship with Jesus, and God through other religions. But then when I had the truth book given to me, then it really opened my eyes. And this is my first 24-hour, and I've been in the cafe, and I do daily paper reading, and Christ Michael is one of he's the most he's done such amazing things. I wish they could tell us in the book what happened on this Skull 6, because if it was so bad that they didn't want to talk about it, I mean, like, what could get worse than what's going on with us right now? Can you imagine that?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Seth. And where are
Positive
you from?
vibe. Love everybody.
Love you too. Where are you from, Seth? You're still muted. Where are you from?
Princeton, Indiana.
Indiana?
Yeah, I'm down in Princeton.
Princeton, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a wonderful night. I'll be here with y'all.
You too. Patrick Ho in Lagos, Nigeria.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, nice to be here. Nice to calling from Nigeria. It's 3:50 in the morning here.
That's great.
Just to stay up to participate in this. This is nice. Nice to be here. Nice to see all the beautiful brothers and sisters who are very enthusiastic about spiritual things. This connection, this spiritual fellowship, it's very interesting because the center of this fellowship is Christ, and we are the branches. He is the vine, and we are the branches. And we're connected to one another, we're connected to Christ. We're connected to the husbandman, who is the Father. It's a wonderful connection. Our connection is in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. This is not a political connection. This is not a social connection. This is connection in the Father. This is the real unity of the Spirit. There is something that connects all of us, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And this is the real brotherhood. And I pray that the connection only stays stronger if we connected to the vine. This connection only makes more meaning if we connected. If we're plucked up from the vine, we lose the connection. So in order to stay in this connection, horizontally and vertically, we must stay connected to the vine. And this connection is beautiful. This connection brings peace in our life. And I pray we all stay connected. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate that, brother. Christian Birch, and then Bobby Dreyer.
Hello, everybody. I'm coming to you from Australia. It was the 21st here yesterday, but I thought I would save it when Kathleen here sent me an invitation to participate in this. And it's actually been my first kind of big Zoom thing like this. But
where in Australia are you?
Just north of Sydney, about an hour.
Okay. My daughter went to school in Newcastle.
Okay, well, I'm not far from halfway between Newcastle and Sydney. So I just wanted to tell you all that I decided I would hold off celebrating Michael, Jesus's birthday, until today when we could all be together. So for me, this is kind of like a bit of a birthday party the next 24 hours. And it's amazingly special to see you all on screen. I'm just learning how to use Zoom, but I flicked through all the pages and I thought we're actually all here together celebrating a very special man and a very special heavenly, well, the Son of God for us, you know, and we're here celebrating it. So I'm really thankful for technology that we can do this, and I guess with all this COVID stuff, it's enabled this a lot more for us to have to do this kind of thing, but it's actually really great. I mean, how else could we from all over the world come together and actually worship together and pray together and share? You know, it takes all those little sticks to come together to make a fire, and those little sticks have got to be together. Otherwise, if they're apart, those little sticks will get blown out, you know. So I thank you all for your fellowship at this moment, and to be able to share with you all. It's been great so far, and I don't know how long I'm going to stay awake for the next 24 hours, but yeah.
Me
great.
neither, but I'm going to try. Right there with you, Christian.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, and beautiful to have you on.
Great.
And Bobby Dreyer.
I just want to say how grateful I am for this community and how much I feel so connected. Many of you I know personally and have loved as friends. And those of you that I haven't met, I hope to someday. I'm just feeling a soul connection that is so uplifting. I've lost the love of my life and my best friend forever, but I have felt so surrounded by love from the community. My chat isn't working, or I would have responded to those of you who have said hi. I love you all. And the thing that's come to me recently, when I feel sad and lonely, I somehow the Father says to me, there are those who are sadder and lonelier than you. And I've called them. And before a few minutes, we've just uplifted each other. And it's just been such a blessing.
Yeah.
And you know, my gosh, seeing some of you, Gingy, my God, I knew you when you were a little girl. You're still there. It's so thrilling and Maureen, I mean, people from the past and people from the present. Anyway, thank you, Chris and Alice and those of you who put this together. It's just a blessing, and it's a soul party. You know, we're all here together in spirit, and thank you, Father, and thank you, Michael, and Mother Spirit, and everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah, you expressed something that comes out of my heart as well. I relate to what you're saying about loneliness. And let's end. We're just a minute over, but let's end with Maya. Maya, you'll be the last one to share. Go ahead, Maya. From Argentina.
Hola.
Hola.
Sí. Bueno, yo no hablo inglés. Espero que estén traduciendo.
Okay, you don't speak
escucha?
English, but you're going to say something. Go ahead.
Ok. Bueno, quería agradecerles. Yo no escuché a nadie que hablara en español, así que bueno, quería animarme y quería agradecerles por la invitación. Es mi primer Navidad compartida con ustedes. Estoy acá en el último rincón de Argentina, allá abajo en Río Turbio, en Santa Cruz.
Bienvenidos. Okay. Nice to meet you.
So this is the top of the hour.
Yep.
Bueno, muchas gracias. Quería compartir la misma emoción que tienen todos ustedes, porque me siento parte de todo esto. Conocí el libro hace 7 años y no lo pude dejar. Y vivo a través de las enseñanzas. Así que feliz Navidad a todos. Muchísimas gracias por invitarme.
Mucho gusto conocerle. All
Wonderful
right, I surrender
wonderful to share with
control.
you all.
Thank you, everyone.